Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7, and it wouldn't be Epic 7 lately without some controversy, and this is a juicy one. So, we're gonna talk about Alencia today. We're gonna talk about how I think you should gear her, if you should summon, all stuff like that. But first, let's talk about the little juicy bits that happened in this last 24 hours. So, for those of you who weren't aware, yesterday Alencia was supposed to come out at 7 p.m. PST, and pretty much everybody was kind of predicting it wouldn't because, one, there was no maintenance, two, she wasn't in the journal, and it just seemed weird. You know, it seemed weird without that maintenance. And sure enough, 3 minutes before she was actually supposed to go live, and many people stayed up for it, and many people streamed for it, like me. 3 minutes before she was supposed to go live, we got a notice saying, you know what, there's a problem with Alencia and we're not actually releasing her. So that was pretty upsetting. But to top it off, it was buggy. So some people got to summon for Alencia and some people didn't, which is pretty upsetting, you know. I was pretty salty about it at the time, but it was something that, like, I wish they told us sooner, or like the possibility that it was delayed sooner. I wish stuff like that was kind of a thing. But I didn't really, like, I wasn't really pissed about it, you know? Like, I was frustrated and I was sad. I wanted to summon for her. So now, I just woke up, as you can tell by my glorious mane of hair, and I found out that while I was sleeping, they, put up her banner and got a bunch of people to summon for her, and then something like an hour later, decided to change her passive. Yeah, so everybody has been looking at their live stream, which gave all the details on her skill 1, skill 2, skill 3. They also looked at the patch notes, which gave all the information on Alencia's skill 1, skill 2, skill 3. And what do they think? They think, you know, this is a really good unit. Let's build her a counter set, of course. Counter set seems pretty good, especially since her skill 1 procs into skill 2, just like Charles does. And there's really obviously the best option, or pretty close to the best option, assuming you wanted to build her like that. And that's all people were talking about for like a week or two, maybe not 2 weeks, but at least a week since she was revealed. So what they did was release her banner, and then an hour later, change it. You know, let people spend their resources, spend some money, and then change it. I guess what this meant to say was something else was greedy for new knowledge. So the way Alencia works now is they added, due to a translation error, her passive no longer procs off of counter set. So it only works on her turn. So now everybody, like a lot of people I personally know, have been farming counter set during the hunt thing just for Alencia gear and prepping up gear for her because it was pretty obvious that's what we wanted to give her. Not that that gear is useless now or anything, but like the fact that people were preparing for this for a week because they hyped us out about it. This was on their official live stream. This was on their official patch notes. So Alencia started off on a very sketchy start, and it's too bad because she's a great looking unit, and I was really excited. And now it's kind of like my saltiness, like this is not something that's okay. Like honestly, I'm okay with them handling how they run their game, you know, like I'm okay with them handling gold drops and stamina. Like it's their game, they can run it how they want, but I'm not okay with deceptive gacha tactics, and whether or not it is intentional or not, it's no excuse. It's not something that should be allowed, you know. In fact, I actually don't think it's allowed. I think it's illegal in a lot of places, specifically Japan and probably quite a few other places. Like I literally think it's illegal what they did. Anything tied to monetary value like that, you can't just like not show it and then change it after the fact. And another like minor grievance was she was being pulled in the Covenant summer, I believe. The Covenant banner, I mean, which means all the odds on the Covenant banner were incorrect because she wasn't shown there either. Basically, it's just a little... it's not the right thing for Epic 7 to do in this current situation, you know? Like, this isn't the time for this. Screw up after you have a good track record. There was just so many other ways to handle this, and like the fact that they tell us about the counter change an hour after she's officially released. And the thing is, so many people aren't gonna go into their stove, right? So many people have already looked into what she does and how she does it through official means, not through people like me, through actual official means, and they're gonna log in and summon still. So it's really frustrating. Like, I don't even know how to technically find it. Like, is this one it? Yeah, this one is it. So I got lucky and found it right away, but most people aren't going to go through this. So a lot of people are going to equip her on her counter set and then not understand why she's not working the way she was supposed to work. So this is just all sorts of messed up, and it's not okay. And a lot of people are talking about, as long as they give us like proper refunds or compensation, whatever you want to call it, then it's okay. And I don't really think so. I think this is one of the things you cannot screw up in gacha games. It's not okay. Absolutely not okay. Anyways, I'll get the ranting out of the way. As you can see, I'm a little salty about this. And it's not that I wanted my Alencia to be overpowered. It's not that I wanted her to do that. It's that I was misinformed, and I feel lied to, and that's what gets me. Anyways, let's talk about Alencia and her gear and how you plan to gear her. So what's the best way to do this? I guess we'll have to look at her through the journal. I don't have her yet. I'm going to be summoning her on stream, which is going to start at 2 p.m. PST. I was supposed to summon it yesterday, obviously, but we have Alencia here. Her skill 1 is a defense break, a 75% chance for 1 turn. Her skill 2 is a passive. On the caster's turn, it only procs now, and it procs in a trample, which does some damage and reduces the cooldown of Genesis. And then her skill 3 is Dispel All Buffs, grants defend buffs to all allies proportionate on max HP, which is all of her skills, all proportionate on her max HP. Her Mind's Eye is a 30% effectiveness. Oh, it shows here now. Nice. 30% effectiveness and 30% ER buff as well. So that's pretty sweet. I really like that super much. It's awesome. So now that those are her skills, she's also got a defense percent imprint for 2 slots. Let's take a look at what type of gear I would want for her. So again, before this patch, it was 100% counter set. Counter set would have just been such a fantastic thing to have for her. And now I'm undecided. I honestly think counter set is still a fantastic option. I think it's still perfectly acceptable for a skill set to do. So let's take a look at, like, let's just do Cecilia stats for now. So if I'm going to be looking for a set for my Alencia, I think it's still counter set. So I would probably be going for HP percent on all the right side. She scales really, really, really well with HP percent. So I would primarily be going for HP percent there. So a piece of gear, something like this, with great substats that fill what else she needs, which are defense percent to survive a little more, but she doesn't need that too much, I think. Crit chance, crit damage, effectiveness, effect resistance. I don't think she needs attack too much because her attack scaling is really, 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 really unfortunate. So we're basically just looking for HP percent main stat with other subs that kind of complement it. I actually don't have many of those, which is stressing me out a little bit. So we're going to put that on there. And then as for the ring, it's going to be the same thing. We absolutely want HP percent here. And we're going to be looking for crit rate, crit damage, all other shenanigans like that. So we want to find a that goes with it. I'm personally probably going to put her not on counter because I don't think I have a counter set for this. So I'm going to be putting her on a speed set, probably, possibly speed / crit, because I know I have a couple decent speed / crit pieces. As for the neck, what do you know? It's going to be the same thing. We're looking for an HP % neck with crit chance, crit damage, all those stats I mentioned. Just a lot of raw stat power is really what we're looking for here. And I feel like I'm going to be needing quite a bit of crit chance. So I'm going to put something like this, I guess, on it. I honestly don't think she needs the speed if you're building her on a counter set. But because the set right now isn't counter, something like that would probably work pretty well for her. As for weapon, can you guess? We're looking for HP % primarily. We're also looking for your typical crit rate, crit damage, all those juicy bits. This one has 34%, so we're gonna put that one on there just for now. As for helm, can you guess? It's the same thing again. We're looking for HP %, we're looking for crit rate, crit damage. I would like to kind of fill in those 2 slots, get my crit rate up, get my crit damage up. So maybe something like that, just because I know I'm going to need my crit rate. Not the best choice for her, but I know with my set right now, I'm going to need a little bit more crit rate. As for the chest, same thing here. We are looking for crit rate, crit damage, crit chance, all stuff like that with a bunch of HP as well. So it looks like we're definitely going to need our crit damage up with this build. So let's find a crit set that kind of fits with that theme. So this is the way mine ended up, just completely with whatever gear without really searching too much. If I was to choose my stats here, I think I would switch my set to counter and I would drop a lot of the speed. Because I honestly think the counter set is still going to be insane for her, because you are still dishing out defense breaks left and right with counter, which is just really good. So yeah, this is kind of the stats you're going to want to hope for when you're looking at Alencia here. You're going to want that defense, you're going to want that HP more than anything. You're going to want the crit rate and crit damage if you have the gear for it. And some effectiveness and effect resistance would be nice if you can fit it in as well. If you're going on a counter set, you don't really need speed too much, but some speed is always handy. But if you're not on a counter set, she's going to need to be a little bit faster without the counter. There's also opportunities if your gear isn't good enough for this style of build. You can possibly drop a lot of the damage and just work on her other stats, so you can have a lot of HP, a lot of defense, a lot of speed, a lot of effectiveness, ER, and just kind of not worry about her damage as much. And that will work a lot of times for guild versus guild, for offense, for PvE, for raid, for all sorts of stuff like that. As for her skill ups, you're going to need special time loops, which are in 2-7 world, I believe. You're also going to need mouse insignias, I believe, which are in 3-3 somewhere, and 3 S-3 somewhere in there. You'll find it in the region info. And you'll also need Heart of Hypocrisies, which I usually farm through the shop in world 10, I believe, or 9, somewhere up there. It's pretty easy to find. But if we take a look at Alencia's skill ups here, I actually don't know what her skill ups look like. But for me personally, I'm going to be 100% plus 15 in her. I love her design, I love her character, even despite the things that are happening. But this effect chance is insane. It's something you're gonna need to get for sure. As for this, same with the effect chance, get at least to the 5%, and if you want to put a little bit more into her, that 10% is massive. And for this one here, you need at least the -1 cooldown. But I honestly think every little bit of damage on her counts, and if you're going to be using her extensively like I am, I think she's a perfect target for plus 15. So yeah, I'm not sure what else to say with Alencia. There will be a summon video out for her tomorrow, I believe, and probably like a Guild Wars showcase, or wherever you want to see her use the day after. So thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.